Today's trip is going to be quite unusual. We're visiting a historic house dating back to 1550, but don't expect a typical tour. There are no polished floors or elegantly furnished rooms here. What made this house famous wasn't its architecture, but its eccentric owner and his extraordinary collection. Welcome to another chapter of our journey through England. Join us as we explore Snowshill Manor. The exact history of the house is somewhat unclear. What we do know is that when its future owner, eccentric architect, painter, poet, and all-round artist Charles Wade stumbled upon it in 1919, it was abandoned and in a terrible state. But it was precisely the kind of place he'd been searching for, a space to house his vast collection. And he needed a lot of space. His collection eventually grew to over 20,000 individual items. So let's take a walk through this remarkable place, because there's truly a lot to see. You'll find historic costumes and vintage prams, samurai armor and antique clocks, old furniture and historic weapons, ship models and valuable paintings. All of this was gathered by a man who turned his dreams into reality. It seems Mr. Wade was a huge fan of sailing ship models. You can see dozens of them around the house. Not that I blame him. Too am a fan of ship models too, and these are nearly perfect. I was really looking forward to seeing the samurai armor, but unfortunately it's displayed in a dark, windowless room, so it's barely visible on camera. It's a shame, because pieces like these are rarely on public display. Just next door, protected behind glass from dust, is a collection of interesting historic costumes. More stairs ahead. Climbing further up under the roof, you'll find a fascinating assortment of old bicycles, children's prams, carriage models, and all sorts of vintage vehicles. The collection sometimes feels a bit chaotic, as if someone shuffled the exhibits and placed them randomly in different rooms. Still, you have to admit, it's impressively extensive. It took me over 2 hours to walk through the entire house and peek into every room. This strange contraption here is the great-grandfather of today's portable toilets. You just had to find someone willing to hold it for you from behind. On February 13th, 1604, a secret wedding took place in this very room between a young woman named Anne Parsons and her beloved. The marriage was declared invalid, and Anne was forced to marry a man chosen for her. She suffered in that unwanted union, and legend says her ghost still haunts this room. The sign above the door says, "You can't hide your love or your cough." Enjoying today's trip? Give us a like, share the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content. The Middle Ages are my favorite historical period. I've always been fascinated by how our ancestors were able to create such amazing pieces of armor with such limited resources. It is said that a knight's equipment was worth as much as a townhouse. Believe me, I spent a really long time in this room. Our guide escaped through a secret door, but you definitely don't go anywhere. The tour is far from over. Charles Wade collected almost everything, and he collected for a very long time. Some items in his collection were acquired during his childhood, and he gathered so many that he couldn't even live in the house himself. Instead, he stayed in a small cottage next door, which also housed his workshop where he restored and repaired his treasures. He loved handmade objects, things, as he said, that had been touched by a craftsman's hand and given a soul. Charles Wade spent most of his life in that little cottage, and these are the rooms where he lived and worked, surrounded by the treasures he loved so dearly. And that strange cabinet in the corner? That's his medieval enclosed bed. By the way, it's quite a rarity. Very few have survived to this day. The house is also surrounded by lovely gardens and orchards, created during the 1920 restoration. You can stroll through them, relax on benches, or admire the model of a Cornish harbour village, another creation by this multi-talented artist. Charles Wade was a wealthy and independent man. In his youth, he sold his generous share in the family business just so he could fully dedicate himself to his collections and passions. He lived a bohemian life in the manor, often surrounded by writers, poets, and famous figures of his time. In 1946, at the age of 63, he finally married and chose to spend the rest of his life on the Caribbean island of St. Kitts, where he owned a house and extensive land. In 1952, he donated Snowshill Manor and all its collections to the National Trust, which still cares for the property today. He passed away unexpectedly just 4 years later, on June 28, 1956. But his incredible collection continues to delight visitors to this day. As with nearly every National Trust property, you can enjoy a meal in the restaurant, shop for souvenirs, and use the traditionally spotless and well-maintained restrooms. The path to the manor is about half a kilometer long and winds through beautiful countryside up a fairly steep hill. Luckily, there's a small shuttle cart running from the restaurant to the house. I recommend using it if walking uphill is a challenge. So that was our visit to Snowshill Manor. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, share it, leave us a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great content. And definitely don't forget, ding ding, click the bell so you won't miss the next episode. Take care, and we'll see you in the next part of our journey through England. Bye!